All right. Good morning. I hope you enjoyed the Lion King, a theme song with Elton John, "The Circle of Life." It has an impression on me, and sometimes it brings a tear to my eyes. "The Circle of Life." So thank you for joining us here. Thank you everyone for joining us here today. I'm Joe Anteo, and I'm a licensed Unity teacher. And today, my talk title is Recognizing a Father's Soul Journey. And so, good morning and happy Father's Day to all fathers everywhere. Feeling inspired, I felt called to share some truly remarkable and some noteworthy insights into recognizing this very special day into fathers and the role they played in our lives. We love and appreciate all dads everywhere. Today we celebrate honoring people's fathers, celebrating fatherhood, parental bonds, and the influence fathers have had in our lives and society. We honor the divine masculine. Besides honoring Father's Day today, we will also recognize that we are celebrating Pride Month with the GLBT community and also Juneteenth tomorrow. And we'll talk a little bit about both of those holidays. How did the idea of Father's Day come into being? Well, the first proposed it was Sonora Dodd of Spokane, Washington in 1909. Sonora Smart Dodd was listening to a Mother's Day sermon, and she had the idea that we should also have a day dedicated to fathers and honoring fathers as well. Her dad, a Civil War veteran, raised her and her family, and she lost her mother when she was at childbirth. The religious leaders supported the idea, and the first Father's Day was celebrated in 1910. This was the day of her father's birthday. In 1924, Calvin Coolidge gave his support for the observance in 1972, and it became a national holiday when President Nixon signed it into legislation, designating the third Sunday in June to be as Father's Day. Sonora died on March 22 in 1978. Most countries around the globe today are celebrating Father's Day, and some other countries have maintained to their own traditions, some more traditional cultural religious perspective. Catholic countries in Europe celebrate it on the 19th of March as the feast of St. Joseph's Day, following St. Patrick's Day on March 17. Still, the most popular day among world countries is recognizing this special holiday on the third Sunday of June, like we do in the US. The cultural annual tradition of Catholic countries of Europe, like Portugal, Spain, Italy, recognizing and honoring Father's Day on the 19th of March as the feast of St. Joseph is an ideal and inspiring date for this special day as well, as St. Joseph was the legal guardian and foster parent of Jesus Christ and was venerated at the Catholic Church as the patron saint of workers. The name Joseph metaphysically means whom Jehovah will add, and he shall increase progressively. With great humility, I aspire and I am open to Spirit's ideal. Having been blessed and named Joseph, Joseph symbolizes all the aspects of the thinking nature, being male. His name signifies the process of evolution, enhances conscious awareness of spirit by enriching all the aspects of the masculine part of total being. Joseph is of the house and lineage of David. David represents divine love, individualized in human consciousness, as Joseph represents human awareness of spiritual oneness. Because he hears and responds to angelic messages, he also symbolizes wisdom. Of course, he represents
Harvest my garlic today.
the
Ooh,
positive
nice.
aspect:
Let's see.
That's
father,
probably do that from up
architect,
here, right?
nurturer, protector, and once again, of course, he represents the positive aspects of the father, architect, nurturer, provider, and protector. Fathers, like mothers, are pillars in the development of a child's emotional well being. Let's ask the question: what makes for a great dad? Children look up to their fathers to lay down the rules and enforce them. They also look up to their fathers to provide a feeling of security, both physical and emotional. A great dad will go above and beyond for their families and are considerate to how other people feel or what they may need. They take initiative and don't give up even if something doesn't work out on the first try. Great dads are involved in the family life and regularly show gratitude. His love is sacrificial, patient, kind, humble, honest, forgiving, faithful, and selfless. Is this always true all the time? Truth be told, the answer may vary for each of us. The way we answer these questions depends on each of our personal experiences with our earthly biological fathers. Perhaps through some unforeseen circumstances, one may have never known their dad because of separation through death or divorce. Perhaps the answer may be yes, of course. Sometimes, but not all the time. No, not at all. None of these, or perhaps if the answer is a mixture of all these possibilities, depending on the life circumstances and the soul evolution of our biological and earthly father's consciousness. Of course, the question is answered in this manner because the reality is different for each one of us, and our experiences are different, right? How about your own personal experience, friends? Were there some positive and maybe not so positive experiences with your father? Let's reflect wholeheartedly and honestly on the question. Regardless how each one of us answers this question today, let us emphasize that today is about honoring all fathers everywhere, living or transitioned. We love and appreciate our fathers. Personal My personal relationship with my dad has grown over the years, but the relationship has also presented some challenges to me. I love and appreciate my dad, and today my intention is to let him know and show him that he is loved and appreciated. Love amongst all things is what matters. Let us also recognize Father Infinite Mind, who has the ultimate authority in our very being, in our very livelihood. As we realize our oneness with it, as us, we claim our verity consciousness. In the Bible, it says in John 10:30, the Father and I are one. It also says in Matthew 5:48, be perfect, therefore, as your heavenly Father is perfect. And John chapter 14, verse 10 through 11, it says, the words that I say to you, I do not speak on my own, but the Father who dwells in me does the works. Friends, in my own spiritual quest and exploration to find answers to questions I had on my own spiritual um, journey and relationship with my father, I was led to read several books on family dynamics, which were very instrumental and fundamentally very enlightening for me on the understanding of this interesting subject. I came to understand my relationship with my father much better and the part he played in my younger years to this very present day. Sometimes children can also take on certain roles, such as being a hero, a scapegoat, a cheerleader, a lost child, a nurturer, or other possible roles can also apply to a family system. Roles can either be positive and functional or somewhat reversed. The author's name who wrote these books and who is an expert on the subject was John Bradshaw. I highly recommend reading his material if you're curious about the topic. If our biological fathers were present when we were growing up, and if they provided with us with all that we needed through the different stage of development, which is when we are most impressionable, we are truly blessed. The different stages of development that we go through are infancy, toddler, childhood, adolescence, and teenager, and adulthood. By the age 7, our whole identity is formed, which is stored in our subconscious minds. Children depend entirely on their parents as little youngsters, and some of us may be able to say we truly had an exceptionally perfect and great biological fathers which provided all that we needed for a healthy childhood, and others may have a mixture of their feelings on this topic because the fathers may have fell short of demonstrating perfection. Perhaps the absolute truth and the heart of the matter is that dad possibly just did the best that of what he knew without intentionally causing any harm or anything different to his child. To that inner child who may have not received what he or she most needed, some will do reframing work of those earlier stages. They will do it through journaling, meditation, and a prayer work, possibly therapy. Let me state it again. The truth is that our biological fathers just did the very best they knew in filling their fatherly role. And maybe if they just did not know any different or any better at the time. Perhaps their behavior was an unconscious behavior from an old memory in their subconscious mind, from their less than perfect past, without completely realizing it. Maybe they themselves could not do any better because they also did not have an optimal father role and functional father role, which provided everything they needed. So they continued the dynamic of that dysfunction. Perhaps what comes around goes around. If this was your story, you can choose to reframe it with the right perspective. But nevertheless, in unity, we know no one is a victim to someone else's story or happenstance. One can make a breakthrough. There is no room in consciousness for any shame, blame, guilt, faulty thinking, false beliefs, or any dysfunction of any kind. No one is responsible or accountable for someone else's actions or behaviors. These concepts cannot occupy any space in our consciousness, and we must release it and heal it. Whatever the case may be, one must practice forgiveness and compassion for any hurt caused onto us if they fell short of being the perfect optimal father. It is an opportunity where we can perhaps practice what they call wasabi love. You may ask, what is wasabi love? The basic idea behind wasabi love is that by embracing imperfection from the Japanese term wasabi ancient art, you can enhance and find love in imperfect relationships. As you practice forgiveness and compassion, you also free yourself from any injustice, wrongdoing, or lack of what the inner child needed most was a healthy, functioning, and loving father image. if that was the story. Forgiveness releases us from the mental and emotional bondage we are currently experiencing in the reaction to any situation. It enables us to let go of the resentment that is adversely affecting our consciousness. It's important work to be done if this was your experience. Charles Fillmore, in Revealing Words, says compassion is the characteristic of love and mercy prompted by an understanding heart. A compassionate mind sees the error but does not condemn. Neither do I condemn thee, go thy way. From henceforth sin no more. And that's from John 8:11. Nothing has ever occurred in our lives that can change the eternal truth that the life of God is our life. The perfection of spirit holds all that we each are and reveals our very wholeness. We each are human as well as divine. We decide right now that we are grateful and appreciate all fathers, living or transitioned from this life. We understand our fathers simply did the best they knew. A quote that I love is from Maya Angelou. Do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. Another quote that I love is from Ram Dass. We're all just walking each other home. We bless, we appreciate, and we love all fathers everywhere. Now, forever, always. We realize our fathers shaped our development and growth to who we are today. We are forever grateful. Thank you. What about Juneteenth that makes it so worthy of honoring and celebrating? And when did Juneteenth become a U.S. holiday? It was our current U.S. President, Joe Biden, who signed the bill in 2021 to make Juneteenth a federal holiday. Juneteenth became the 12th federal holiday. For some Americans, it's a new holiday, but for some other Americans, it's just a day that they recognize black families and communities across the nation. It's a well time to celebrate liberation, culture, and joy. In 1863, Abraham Lincoln issued an Emancipation Proclamation which declared a formal end to slavery in the United States. However, change was not instant by that proclamation. It was nearly 2.5 years later, on June 19, 1865, the enslaved African Americans of Galveston, Texas, got the news by the way of the Union Army troops that freedom had come at last. The next year, the people of Galveston commemorated that day as Juneteenth, a celebration of freedom. And since then, it's become observed in communities and states as a holiday, but not officially recognized as a federal holiday until recently in 2021. The name blends the month and the day this news reached the people of Galveston. June plus 19th is Juneteenth. It's also known as Emancipation Day and Freedom Day. In the Bible, John 8:36, it says, "So if the Son makes you free, you are free indeed." And how about Pride Month? How did that begin? The concept of Pride Month began with the Stonewall riots and a series of riots for gay liberation that took place over several days, beginning on June 28, 1969. The riots began after police raid at the Stonewall Inn and a gay bar located on Christopher Street within Lower Manhattan, New York. The activists Marsha P. Johnson, Sylvia Riviera, and Stormy DeLaverie are credited for citing the riots. The riots at the gay bar and the protests that followed were a turning point for the LGBT rights in the United States. The first Pride marches were held in several U.S. cities, and the march in New York City marched right into New York Central Park on June 28, 1970. The aim was to celebrate the Christopher Street Liberation Day, alongside parallel marches across the U.S., were considered to be a watershed moment for the LGBT rights. Fred Sargent, an organizer of some of the first marchers, said that the goal was to commemorate Stonewall Inn on Christopher Street riots in Manhattan on its first year anniversary and to further push for liberation. He noted that while the first marches were more akin to a protest than a celebration, it helped to remind people that the LGBT communities and how they may include one's family and friends. May each of us be inspired to be more understanding of the differences and become more willing to accept the differences as a blessing to each other, to learn, to love, and to grow with each other. We are all part of the whole of life, the circle of life, and worthy of love, fulfillment, and dignity to reach our full potential as a child of God. We all want the same things. This includes our fathers, our Black African Americans, our GBLT community. In the Bible, it says, with all humility and gentleness and patience, bearing one another in love, and making every effort to maintain the unity of spirit and the bond of peace. And in Malachi 4:6, it says, he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to the fathers. God bless you all. Love and blessings to all. Happy Father's Day to all dads everywhere. Happy Juneteenth tomorrow, and happy Pride all month long. Blessings to all. Namaste, and so it is. And that will take us into meditation. Let us turn within and leave the outer world for a few minutes of quiet meditation. Relax and settle into your seat. Feel the seat support you. Inhale the fullness of this very now moment and release any tension as you exhale. As you allow your mind to still, you shift your outer attention to your inner space, you connect with the source of life within. You experience the source of light, love, peace that passes understanding. You are a child of light and an expression of the divine source as you are. You realize God loves you unconditionally, and you appreciate it is Father's Day. You are grateful for your Father, and love is what transpires in all that has ever been shared, the good or what may have been transformed to the good, or what just may be as it is. It is all God. On Father's Day, Spirit speaks to you as you listen to what you may need to know for your complete joy, total resolve, or complete acceptance with your relationship to Dad, especially as the memory surfaces from your youth to the present. Regardless if he's with you or transitioned, love is eternal. You rest in the silence, the secret place within, for the divine guidance and the light of truth that you now seek. You now realize God reveals all the answers. As you begin to come back from this place of meditation, you stay open to your inner light and guidance throughout the rest of your day. You feel it a blessing you and lighting your way every step by step. And you remember who you truly are, and you are a child of God and blessed. And just before you open your eyes, we will honor the Father of Unity, Charles Fillmore, with the Our Father.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not in temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Slowly return when you're ready, and not a moment sooner. Open your eyes. Love and blessings, so it is. Amen.